Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming. So this video is a reply to another tweet I got today. So Krusty Kunal asked, I don't know much about the Warhammer series of games, like its history, different types of games. Can you make a video explaining this series a bit for newbies like me? Now, I can make a video about the games because the lore and the universe of the Warhammer uh, 40k universe, for example, is just too vast, and I'll be here days if I start explaining that. And also, I don't really know that much. I only have like a brief interest in it. So basically, you have two sorts of universes. You have Warhammer Fantasy and you have Warhammer 40k. Fantasy is the medieval stuff. So you have old castles, elves, dwarves, swords, arrows, those sort of things, monsters and things like that, all of that. 40k is the futuristic one, set in the year 40,000. So you have uh, space, everything is set in space, and you're still fighting and still dying, but you'd see those big dudes in power armors, the space marines. So that is 40k. So that is briefly the distinction here. Now, there are some games made in the fantasy and there are a lot more made in 40k. What I'll do in this video is give you a few of the games in fantasy that you can check out, and then I'll cover 40k in more detail with some recent games that have come out, because I've noticed a bit of a resurgence in 40k games and some decent ones as well. So the recent ones, I'll mention those. Then I'll mention a few of the good games that came out in the past, a little older games, and then a few that are upcoming. Now, first thing you have to remember is Warhammer games, these are not made by just one publisher or one developer. The license has been given out to pretty much anyone. So you get a whole different set of games here, completely different. So you have different genres made by different people around the world, different budgets. Some are indie games, some are big AAA stuff. There's also everything in between. There are RTS games, there are shooters, turn-based tactics, things like that. So different types of games, and they're also not necessarily connected story-wise, because Warhammer 40k, for instance, has history that is probably more than 10,000 years, that covers more than 10,000 years. So you have completely different people, different groups that are never going to run into each other. So imagine, let's say you have Witcher. Let's say Andrzej Sapkowski gave the license to many different people, HBO, Netflix, and stuff like that. So Netflix is focusing on Geralt, and let's say HBO is focusing on the origin of Vesemir, for example. And then somebody else is making a comedy version based on the story of Dandelion, Jaskier, and one of the dwarves. So sort of like that in a way, I mean loosely. So let me quickly go into the games. I'll give you the store, Steam store pages. There's also a sale on Fanatical right now. I'll put this link below. Once you watch this video and have a bit of an idea, and if there's a game that interests you, have a look. Maybe it might be on sale and you can pick it up. So first, let's start with Warhammer Fantasy. So as I said, fantasy is the old stuff, medieval fantasy. So the most popular game, in my opinion, with the Warhammer Fantasy setting is Vermintide 2, made by Fat Shark. I've played a lot. I played a lot of 1, Vermintide 1 and 2, really good. The characters are fun, combat is good. This is basically a first-person co-op game, sort of like Left 4 Dead. This game was given away free on Steam towards the end of last year when one of the latest games came out, which I'll mention later, about 2-3 months ago. So yeah, 3rd of November, this was given away for free. So if you have been following me, I did mention this. You may already have it. Check it out. Very fun game, very well optimized, big maps. You can play with alone, you can play with friends. I would recommend with friends. Obviously, it's a lot of fun. I have more than 100 hours in each of these games, both the first one and the second one. There's a lot of DLCs here. And the best thing is, if one of your party has the DLCs, the others can also play on those maps. All right, so this is the first one, fantasy. Then you have Chaos Pain. This is also in fantasy. We're still in fantasy. You can see here reviews are not that great currently. Now this is an ARPG, action ARPG, sort of Diablo style in that isometric view. It's an okay game. This has mixed reviews. I have played a bit. It's okay. I won't say it's good or it's terrible. It's just okay. So if you're a fan of ARPGs and you want something in the Warhammer Fantasy setting, you can try this out. Is it on sale? No. Mordheim City of the Damned. Now this is a game I have not played, but I often come across this game and I wanted to pick it up. In fact, I thought I already had this game and I did not apparently. So this is a turn-based RPG style game in the fantasy setting. Once again, not an expensive game. This goes very cheap on sales, but there are quite a few DLCs here. So yeah, you may want to try this out. This is from 2015, so an older game now. And then finally, probably one of the more popular series is the Total War Warhammer games. So these are your big grand strategy style game RTS within the fantasy Warhammer setting. There are 3 games here, and once again, I think at least 2 of them have been given away free. I remember Prime giving away one of them. Also, Epic has given away. So have a look. You definitely should have at least one of these. I'm not sure which is considered the best of the 3. I have not played these games, but I think one is probably good because they made more. So probably the first one is the best. So these are the 4 games in the fantasy setting. Now let's go to Warhammer 40K. So we first start off with one of the latest games, Dark Tide. Now, Warhammer Fantasy 40K once again is set in the year 40,000. Humanity is constantly at war. There's an emperor, and you may have heard of this. There are plenty of videos. Have a look. It's very fun, the whole universe. Now, this game had a lot of hype and hope, and this game I still think has the potential to be the best Warhammer game. But as you can see here, the recent reviews are very negative, mostly negative. And this is because the way they handle the launch, some issues. I played the beta version on Steam before the game released somewhere in October, November. The game came out in November, but I played the beta somewhere in October or early November. And this had massive performance issues. So I thought, okay, I'll wait until the game comes out. It's been patched and fixed a bit, then I'll jump into it. Because this is made by the same people who made the Vermintide games, and I love those games. Those were fantastic. But even that game had a bit of a rough start. They did recover later. So at the moment here, I can see here was mostly negative. Now this game is available on the Xbox Game Pass. So you could give it a try and see if you like it. I did not realize it was so bad. I had heard that there was a lot of complaints from the community, and Fat Shark, the developer, recently even released a letter apologizing and saying we missed the mark, blah, blah, blah. So you can see here a lot of issues. You can have a read, see what the issues are. Because this game has, like I said, the potential to be the best Warhammer 40K game, but at the same time, it has had a very rough launch. So this is 40K. This is once again similar to Vermintide. So this is a co-op first-person shooter like Left 4 Dead. Now, another game that came out last year, which was pretty good, in my opinion, was Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So this one is basically a turn-based style game, sort of like XCOM. And you play as the Grey Knights. So the Grey Knights are another very powerful faction of Space Marines, very secretive. And you take control of them as their commander and defeat the Chaos threat. Good game. I have played like 10-12 hours. It was a little bit expensive at launch in my opinion, but obviously now it's been out for more, well, not a year, but less than a year. So it's cheaper now. You should get some discounts, and it has been 40% off so far. So yeah, definitely have a look at this. I would say this is a good game if you like XCOM style games. Next is a more fun game. This is Shooters, Blood and Thief. So I won't repeat Warhammer 40K. All of these will be 40K. So now this one is a 2D side-scroller shooter, and you play as the orcs in this one. So this came out towards the end of last year. You can see a very positive reviews. Not a big game. This is made by the people who made the Guns, Gore and Cannoli games. So should be fun. It's just a nice fun game. It's not a big game either. It's like 2-3 hour campaign maybe. So have a look at this. I've seen reviews. It seems fun. It's not an expensive game. I still need to pick this up at some point. It's not expensive as you can see here, even at full price. So a small sale, and this might be a fun little game. I liked their previous games, the Guns, Gore and Cannoli games. I love those games, so I'll be more than happy to check this out. Another more recent game from 2021, well, it's about 2 years now, is Necromunda Hired Gun. Now this is, as you can see here, the reviews rating is at 66%. I think this is a fair assessment for this game. This is like a budget FPS in the Warhammer setting, 40K. Now, this is set in the underhives, basically cities, and then it's very difficult to explain. Basically, you're not the usual space marines and stuff. This is just like you're a rogue bounty hunter going under the cities of these one of the giant cities and fighting with all these different elements. And of course, this is a mission based style. So basically you get a mission, go and find this person or that person and kill them. Another game that was a little rough at launch, I did play it, it was okay. Performance optimization was needed, but it seems to be better now. It's a decent game, so if you pick it up on sale, it should be all right. I would say it's a good sort of 6.5, 7 out of 10 type game. Next is Dakar Squadron Flyboys Edition. So another one featuring the orcs, and this time you are the flyboys, basically flying, shooting, stuff like that. I was not aware of this game. I had not heard much about this game. I actually saw this in the Fanatical sales, not this one, like a previous sale. And I thought this was an older game, but it seems like a fairly new game. It seems to have very positive reviews, but I had not heard much about this. So this is like a completely different. So this is a flying game. Yeah, it could be fun. It looks decent and it has good reviews and it's not too expensive either. And there's a demo as well, so you could try this out. So yeah, I might pick this up because sometimes you need something a little different rather than the usual shooters and things. So this might be okay. And then we have Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector. So Battle Sector, once again, is a big strategy game, tactics, and this is also available on the Game Pass. So yeah, 40K setting, but your big strategy style. So like Total War, this is sort of similar, you could say. So yeah, not much else to say. Try it out on Game Pass if you think this is fun. It has good reviews. Now we have Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr. I have played this game. I've played a few hours. This is not bad. This is an ARPG, Diablo style, in the Warhammer 40K setting. You have different classes that you can pick, heroes, and basically investigate. There was let me see if there's a video with a bit of lore. So basically a giant ship pops up into view after thousands of years and you have to go and investigate what happens there. Something like that. I keep coming back to this game, play a bit, then move on to something else. But yeah, so they've added a new class recently, the Sisters of Battle. This one. So this is like a new class very recently, like you can see here, 28th of November. So apart from that, the game is usually very cheap. This one, when it goes on sale, it's like very, very cheap. Like, I don't know, 80% off or 90% off, something like that, 80% off. So this whole complete edition with everything, all of this except this one is usually 80% off. So keep an eye on this. This is a decent game. The only downside with this one that I've seen from other reviewers is that it is always online, even the single player stuff. And that pisses off people, and rightly so, because why do you need online connection when you're playing single player? And people have mentioned that it does get disconnected, and so it's annoying as hell. I did not run into those issues, but I play in very short sessions, so maybe that's why. But yeah, overall, a decent game. Next, we have Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus. Now, this is actually a very good game. I've heard very good reviews for this one. This was also given away free by Epic fairly recently. So it doesn't mention it here. Yeah, it says here 100% Epic game, 27th of October. So yeah, I do remember mentioning this as well. This is more of your strategy turn-based game again, but you could say similar to stuff like Darkest Dungeon, if that makes sense. It's not exactly in the same style, same perspective, but you are going around with a group of your guys, the Mechanicus, and then there's turn-based, basically fighting here. It's also got good music. Generally, I've seen a lot of praise for this one from Warhammer fans and perhaps non-Warhammer fans as well, if they like the turn-based stuff. So again, turn-based game, if you are into turn-based, definitely have a look at this. Now we go into some of the more well-known older games that are good and worth checking out. First and foremost, I would say if you want a easy entry into the Warhammer universe, 40K is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, the anniversary edition. Now this game is a few years old, from 2011, but this is a typical third-person shooter, and there's a small story. You are following Captain Titus of the Ultramarines. Ultramarines are one of the Space Marine units, the ones in blue, they are the Ultramarines. And so you are on a planet investigating something, and it's just the usual stuff, fighting orcs mostly. And there's more of a story there, but a nice sort of 5-6 hour campaign, fun game. It used to have multiplayer as well, but obviously it's a very old game now, so unlikely anybody is playing multiplayer. I actually played this not too long ago, and I enjoyed it. It's from the PS3 360 era, and there's a charm and simplicity from those games, that era of games, where it's just some simple fun, and this one is just like that. So this one was also free a while ago, because I used to cover a lot of free games, and I do remember making a video from 2018 maybe, or something like that. So if you've been following me for a while, you may already have this game in your library. The other annoying thing is this game was made by Relic, and then I think, I don't know if Sega was the original publisher, or things happened recently and they got an anniversary edition, as you can see here, but they also jacked up the price. So you can see here a game from 2011 is priced at 3,000. You can see here in the past 75% off used to be 182. Now 75% off is still a lot. So it's about 750 now. So annoying, but still a good game. But is it good enough for like so much money after 12 years? I don't think so. It is a fun game. If you can get it cheaper, definitely pick it up. You might be able to get physical versions or something for consoles, or if you already have it, like I mentioned, if you got it free, then yeah, definitely play it. It's a good game. Then we have Space Hulk Deathwing Enhanced Edition. Another sort of FPS co-op style game. There is, however, one issue with this game, and that is the head bobbing. I have tried playing this game a couple of times. So I'm one of those people who get affected by low FOV, motion blur, head bobbing of your characters. Stuff like that bothers me and I get a headache. And sadly, this game has that issue. So your character, when he's moving around, you're sort of in first person, your head is moving constantly, head bobbing. That was bothering me too much to enjoy this game. And as a result, I didn't play much of it. But if it's something that doesn't bother you, you might be okay. Another older game from 2018. Well, it's not that old actually. Feels older. And yeah, you may like it if you don't have an issue with the head bobbing. The reviews seem to be mixed, so I'm guessing there's still some issues. It's again made by a smaller team. AI and stuff like that, people are complaining about that. Again, good if you play with friends. Might be worth checking out. It's usually quite cheap. Now on to some upcoming games. So quite a lot of interesting games coming up. I've selected a few, three I think, that I'm looking forward to. So first one is Bolt Gun. Now Bolt Gun is a retro style Doom 3, like not Doom 3, I mean like the Doom mods from the 90s. So boomer shooter. You can see the graphics here. Seems like you're playing an Ultramarine. You can see the 13 here, the blue color. And yeah, should be a simple, fun game. There's been a bit of a revival with the boomer shooters recently, and I'm a big fan of these style of games. And if you put a Warhammer setting into it, I'm more than happy to it. So I'm looking forward to this game. We don't know when it's coming out. We saw some trailers, maybe this year, maybe next year, I don't know. But yeah, shouldn't be a big game, shouldn't be an expensive game either. So, but should be fun, hopefully. Next is Rogue Trader 40K. So this is kind of a big deal. This is made by Owlcat Games. So these are the people who make the Pathfinder games, detailed CRPGs in the isometric perspective. So this should be good. Early sort of clips we see here look promising. This will take a while to be fully ready, I guess. So yeah, but should be good. And then finally, Space Marine 2. So after more than a decade, Space Marine is getting a sequel. You play as Titus again of the Ultramarines, and this should be coming out later this year. Hopefully they give you the date soon enough. I'm hoping we'll get it because they have this physical edition with like a statue and stuff that is already available to purchase, but we don't know the exact release date. But it should be coming out this year. And this is probably the one that I'm most hyped for because I love the first game. First game was fun, and this looks pretty good too. Graphically, it looks amazing. Similar action, amazing weapons, and it's your typical third-person shooter. So everybody should enjoy this more. You don't have to be a fan of RTS or turn-based style games. This is just simple third-person shooter fun. And yeah, if you haven't seen, check out the main launch trailer because that is amazing. So anyway, these are the games. Hopefully this was useful. I'll leave you with this trailer. Enjoy and see you in the next one.
Company command! This is first platoon! We've lost the square! We can't hold it!